It's another beautiful Saturday morning, and welcome on board Politics Today on independent television and radio from wherever you're watching across the world. My name is Sonny Duke Okosum, your host on the program. We'll begin the show this beautiful Saturday morning by taking you on the road to 2023, where we'll bring you up to speed with all the happenings in the build up to the 2023 election. Let's begin from our next neighbor here, talking about Delta State, where a crisis of leadership has continued to rock the party, particularly the ruling party in that state, talking about the PDP, where the incumbent governor and his former boss, so to speak, who was also a former governor of the state, talking about Ifeanyi Okowa and James Ibori, is a big leadership tussle there. Apparently, this usually happens, like what the national chairman of the PDP said on his visit there, Dr. Yocha Ayu, saying that it's normal that families will disagree, and that's what is happening. But we hope that both of them will settle their differences for the sake of peace and development of the people. As is always expected, moments like this, these things will be at the front burner. Okay, and now moving on quickly, INEC has again reiterated that they are not going to shift grounds on changing the deadline date for the submission of names of candidates for the 2023 election. That is, political parties were given between April 4 and June 3rd to conduct their primaries and have their candidates brought forth in the build up to the 2023 election. We have on good authority that some major political parties are putting pressure on INEC to shift the date. And earlier this week, INEC came out to say, look, we are not shifting grounds. You have already given us a breather or some sort of insight into the conduct of primaries, and we do not intend changing our minds about the deadline for the deadline for the conduct of primaries. That's our major talking point on the show today. We'll be meeting our guest as we get along. But let's also keep you up to speed with other issues that are happening at the political scene in the build up to the 2023 election. From Lagos State, the leader of the APC, who we've been told is also a presidential aspirant, has finally given his backing to Governor Sanwo-Olu to contest for a second term alongside his deputy, Honorable His Excellency Hamzat. So that leaves to rest all the agitations and all the bickering in that state. So Sanwo-Olu has gotten the nod. He's pretty lucky compared to his predecessor, talking about Ambode. Okay. Still on the presidential election, we take you to Abuja, where the governor of the central bank, talking about Godwin Emefiele, has also joined the race, picking the presidential nomination form from the APC at a cost of 100 million. Of course, you know, that's the nomination fee for the party. But the twist to it is that we are being told that some rice farmers came together and bought the form for him. That's okay. In the days to come, we'll get to hear more on that. But the interesting thing is that Governor Godwin Emefiele is keeping mum on this matter. He's yet to give any indication yet about his intention to contest this particular forthcoming election in 2023 as a presidential candidate. Okay. Still on that, another major interesting happening on the road to 2023 is Pastor Tunde Bakare. You remember him very well, the fiery preacher who is always very, very bombastic in ventilating his views on issues that bothers on national development, national cohesion, and the unity of this country. He too has picked the form under the platform of the APC. That means he's paid 100 million naira. Last time, he told us that he heard expressly from God to contest as the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Whether it was that time or it is now or in the future, we don't know. He alone heard from God, and that's just what it is. Okay, let's quickly come back home and look at the developments in the political scene still on the road to 2023. Two courts of coordinate jurisdictions, as our legal brothers will say, are giving two conflicting judgments about the adult delegates for the PDP primaries. Why a federal high court in Abuja gave a judgment. That judgment was given by Honorable Justice INEC, which says that which restrained the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, from allowing other ad hoc delegates to vote in the forthcoming election in Edo State. Justice Eko made the order while ruling in an ex parte application. He also ordered the service of the originating summons, the motion and notice for interlocutory injunction, and all processes by substituted means. That came on Friday, but on Thursday, a state high court in Edo State, and Edo State High Court gave a different ruling, which of course cleared the air for the ad hoc delegates to participate in the election. So we'll wait for what will happen next as far as the status of ad hoc delegates in Edo State is concerned in the 2023 election, particularly as it relates to the primaries. This and lots more we have for you on the program Politics Today, reaching you live on independent television and radio. I've got my panelists here. Incidentally, we have two lawyers here, so to help us make sense of some of these issues. Let me thank very especially Barrister Jimmy Osagede, apparently a legal practitioner, is also a politician and a pastor. Thank you so much for joining us, Barrister Jimmy.
Thank you, sir. Nice to be here.
I also have with us in the studio the Edo State Chairman, Nigerian Society of International Lawyers. Is also a notary public, a distinguished legal practitioner, Barrister Patrick Ishekwene. Barrister Patrick, thank you for coming.
Good morning, Duke.
Okay. Okay, now, as they say, charity begins at home. So I'm just going to get you guys to look at what is brewing up in Edo State on the status of ad hoc delegates, and that will take us to the deadline given by INEC for political parties to conduct their primaries with the intention of not shifting grants at all. Now, with these judgments that have been given, conflicting judgment, as it were, which supersede? Let me start with you, Barrister Jimmy Osagede.
Well, thank you very much. In our jurisprudence, we have different levels of courts.
Okay.
You know, from the State High Court or Federal High Court, you have the Court of Appeal, and then you have the Supreme Court. You know, the law is that if two courts that are of coordinate jurisdiction gives, you know, different judgments on the same issue that are conflicting, it's either you go to the Court of Appeal or you resolve it amicably. So I believe that, it can be resolved amicably because the issues involved are based on constitution. They are not just based on sentiment. They are not based on who is who. They are based on the constitution. These issues are guided by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They are guided by the Electoral Act 2022. And they are guided by the Constitution of the People's Democratic Party. So wherever the situation is, the bedrock of what is to be done is the Constitution of the People's Democratic Party. I believe you are talking about PDP.
Yeah.
So there's nobody who can do anything that will be at variance, to the laid down principles in the Constitution. So that's it.
All right, Mr. Patrick, let's get your perspectives.
Yeah, I think that will not be a problem. Or not going to be a problem, right, from my own point of view, because like somebody in a tight corner, ordinarily the only option open to them.
Open to who now?
To the PDP.
The PDP.
I mean, yeah, whose judgment was on PDP.
Yes.
Because they are coordinate jurisdiction. They are equal. No one is superior to one another. I mean, they are coordinate jurisdiction. All option open to them is to appeal. But with the time frame now, I think I'm giving you deadline from now to 3rd, and they're not going to shift ground. They're also mindful of that. To me, totally, and go on the valid primaries, which is more important to them. I think that was said, it can be resolved amicably because they will not have to issue of appeal. For now, might be against them.
But one thing we must note is that there are two types of injunctions. There's interim, there's interlocutory.
Yeah.
Now, interim injunction is vacated automatically after 7 days if it is not renewed.
Okay.
So, most of the time people have a wrong understanding.
Are both interim injunctions or interlocutory injunctions?
No.
Okay.
There's, what the court said is that, in the meantime, that is interim, let the status quo remain. until we look into the issue where somebody is asking for interlocutory injunction, which is almost perpetual. So the way it is, after 7 days, that first injunction is vacated automatically.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, let's go to a major talking point on the show today, talking about the deadline given by INEC for political parties to conduct their primaries and have their candidates emerged. INEC expressly stated that they do not have the intention of shifting grounds or changing the date. So far, so good, but particularly for the two major political parties. 15 presidential aspirants have picked their nomination from the APC, and for the PDP, about half of that, or more than half of that, have also picked the presidential nomination form. So it's money's galore for the two major political parties. But the onus is on them to sort out the issue of their primaries. In a sense, both parties has not really come out to say expressly where they are zoning their presidential seat to. And that seems to be a big issue and is piling so much pressure on them. Let's get back to this conversation by Mr. Jimmy Osagede. We've seen INEC at every point in time coming out to respond to political parties. What do you make of this stand? Before you talk about the deadline given by INEC, what do you make of this disposition of INEC?
Well, INEC has to be careful not to meddle into the affairs of political parties, because the rules and the laws are there. It's not every time a political party or a politician makes a statement, INEC will come out. If the statement is not injurious to INEC, there's no need for INEC coming to refute. But we must bear in mind that INEC is guided by law. The Constitution, like I said earlier on, and then the Electoral Act. The Electoral Act is a brand new law. It's a brand new set of rules and regulations. It's not an amendment. If you look at the Electoral Act 2022, it has fundamental changes. For instance, why there seems to be a stampede right now is because of the delay in the president's assent to the Electoral Act. Also, because of the setback initially, that will go back to the National Assembly. Now, in the Electoral Act, Section 28 of the Electoral Act says that, INEC must give a notice of election that is not less than 360 days. That's almost a year. Now, when you calculate from the time the president assented to the act, INEC had no choice than to quickly release this timetable that we are following now. And also, when you go down a little, the next section 29, says that political parties must submit the names of their nominees for for election not later than 180 days. So every statement that INEC has made, as far as the timetable is concerned, has statutory flavor. It's not just the decision of the chairman of INEC or the rec in the state, but it is according to the Electoral Act. So the different political parties must ensure that they meet the requirement. Because if you don't meet the requirement, it means that you are not ready for the election and INEC is not going to wait for you. So what you have right now is that political parties are trying as much as they can to make sure they follow, the guidelines that have been given to INEC. So it's purely statutory.
Fantastic. Barrister Sekwene, June 3rd deadline by INEC is sacrosanct. I mean, we just heard that earlier this week. What do you make of some political parties trying to put pressure on INEC to shift the date? I mean, that's what informed this decision.
Yes, I think I'm against the pressure being put on INEC. You see, don't forget, it is statutory duty of the INEC to guide the election, give directives. Just like CBN, who statutorily supervises financial institutions with guidelines. It's independent. They're independent to do what they ought to do, but must be done within the ambit of the law. This is the Electoral Act and the Constitution of the particular party. So, asking them to do so, because they are also mindful, they are also aware that the time, or their own time, they don't also run foul of the law. You must go with their own directives. So, given that time between now and the 3rd of June, I don't see these excuse they are giving. It's plenty for them to shift ground. Why should they shift ground? Because for NATO, you still have about 3 weeks. What the border forms? What are you waiting for? So is the only the excuse? I don't know what the major political party the APC gave which is justifiable.
Okay.
Based on section,
what makes it justifiable?
Yeah, based on section 89.
Okay.
Because the issue is that it's clear that you must. He said, if you are, because a lot of them now, some of them said they wanted consensus. Consensus is not known to our law. But by that section, has given to him that if a candidate is, you have a consensus, the aspirant must be withdrawn voluntarily, not coercion. And he shall assent to it, say, yes, I've withdrawn for this man, and who I'm supporting, I endorse it. So, and those forms they submitted now to INEC, they don't have such a thing. Caveats.
Okay.
They don't have it. Okay. And they don't say you must give consent and endorse a particular aspirant, showing that there was no pressure. No coercion. Voluntary, no coercion. Yeah. So we just have to comply. You can withdraw this form, but let's say between now and 3 or 4 days, they withdraw it, then refill it and return. That is the only, that's why it's justifiable. But that can be done in a short time. It does not affect the primaries.
Okay, you want to say something?
Yeah. No, I don't quite agree with my colleague, because, you know, these issues, they are not as simple as it looks at it. I'm a politician. You know, there are a lot of intrigues in all these decisions. There's provision for consensus candidates.
Is it constitutional?
Yes, of course. Of course. There's provision. There's provision. If you come together and agree, you are not just going to tell INEC that, oh, there's a consensus candidate.
No,
there still has to be a primary, so to say. The people must still come out and say, oh, this is the only candidate that we have.
That's even after the consensus?
Yes, after the agreement, you still have to come out. You don't just say, Mr. A, you know, we have agreed that Mr. A should be the candidate, and you send the name to INEC. No. INEC must still come out to witness the primaries where the delegates or those who are statutorily qualified to vote will also come out and say, yes, this is our candidate.
Just pause, my brother. Okay, yes, go on. Yes,
go on. Yeah. So that's the way it works. You must follow the procedure. It's either you do direct primary, indirect primary, consensus, but you still have to come out. So that's the way it is.
Okay, if you just joined us, it's still Politics Today on independent television and radio. I mean, looking at the deadline set by INEC for parties to send their nominees. But let's look at it. Would you agree to the feelings that the inability of the political parties, particularly the major political parties, to decide where their presidential candidate is coming from, I mean, to decide on zoning, is responsible for, is this self-inflicted pressure, so to speak? Let me begin with you, Mr. Sekwede.
Yes, because by extension, it is. You have other things that are not supposed to. So I cannot be waiting for you.
Okay.
But I can say consensus candidate or not consensus candidate. If you have a consensus candidate, like I told you, you must go through the guideline, normal procedure. Even at the end of the day, this is voluntary, you still have to go to the field where the delegate has to also vote to make you, based on constitution, to make that, if you have a 500 delegate, 500 must vote to give it a legal backing.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's why you said consensus is not known to constitution.
That one is not known to law, as constitution. Yeah, but by electoral act number 69, I just told you that it must be voluntary if you want to like, and yes, you can endorse.
So what you make of this same scenario where the major political party who seem to be putting pressure on INEC to shift date for the deadline, they not decided, so to speak, on where their presidential candidates
that would not work. Yeah. You see, there's a timetable, there's a prescription by the Electoral Act.
Okay.
You know, by law, INEC cannot adjust the timetable. The only way the timetable can be adjusted is to go back to the National Assembly to amend the law. The way it is now, the requirement for 360 days notice, Section 20.
108 days notice.
180 for the, so you have to follow.
Okay.
So any attempt to skip any of the steps will be injurious. It will result to some constitutional issues.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that it's just the reason given. I don't the only reason that it's justifiable. The rest it does not make sense. Because they're trying to look at all I know is that they're trying to make more money for themselves, buying from everybody. That's all, nothing more than that. That's the truth of the matter. Yes, they want to start with sense of fun. But that's excuse. Nothing more than that. That is true. Yeah, because they are ready for Pama, they're ready to do it. And they cannot be waiting for you to say your bed. If you are catching a flight, now flight won't give you say the flight is 2 o'clock. They wait for you to come from your house before the flight will move. They don't need to wait for you. So they should wake up. So you so wish to have your primaries after the deadline is left for you, but you know the implication, litigation, election matters. It's on your own. That you take clue from River State. The clue from River State, because these are things that River State is treated with levity. Today, River State, the other party, they don't have a assembly member. No Senate. No, not they lost all they got out. They did at the late court after we cancel what they did. That was today. No member of National Assembly.
Okay.
So they should have to be careful. You can go to and do that if you when you like. If you don't want to compare with INEC. But INEC have told you this is our deadline. You must comply with it.
Okay.
I'm not shooting ground.
But Osagede, the issue of zoning is become a thorny one, particularly in the build-up to the 2023 election. What are your perspectives?
Well, if flowing from the Constitution, everybody has the right as a citizen to aspire to any office in the land. But when you look at the history of Nigeria, you see there's an imbalance in terms of representation. If you look at the current ruling class, the party that is ruling now, the president is about 7 years in office. By the time he leaves, he will have done 8 years. That is why people are saying that the next president should come from another zone, because Nigeria is a heterogeneous society, and zoning, is an attempt to make sure to restore the possibility of one part of the country, marginalizing the others. Even later, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, advertised in mind to that all, the presidency should go round. So if a party, says that we want the next president to come to the south, that party means well, for the country, because they want a balance. And if you also look at there are many things that we cannot talk about here. But if you look at how Nigeria has fared in different eras of different people who have been ruling from different parts of the country, Nigerians are yearning for a change. They want a good change, not the type that we are experiencing now. They want somebody who will come from the south and also be a president. So it makes a lot of sense. However, when the talk to zone does not succeed, everybody have to go to the field. But we know very well that the delegates who are going to vote, they will prefer to have somebody from the south, cannot be concentrated in the north. That's the essence of the zoning.
All right, Bashir Shekwene, zoning from political party, particularly the presidential seat as it were. Yes.
Yes. Well, issue of zoning is not known to our law. I mean, our constitution. It's not known to our law. You see, but we try just on moral ground. Just like our constitution of federal character, I try to balance not one side, dominating the other side. We are one. See, it's a moral decision, but it's not constitutional. So what you can only do is to lobby. Yes, to lobby. Because this cannot be in power for so many years. So morally, let's shift it to this side to bring us. We belong to one Nigeria. We belong to one Nigeria. But right from one set, I've said it here severally. And by the end of this month, by the grace of God, we will see all the presidential aspirants. Nothing like zoning will not work. The constitution makes it clear if you are eligible, go and contest. Except you have 2 terms, you are bad. So, because the North do not want the South to, so North do not want to give way. The South don't want to give way. The East do not want to give way. The West do not want to give way. The best is let them go to the field. You see, they try what they can. People laughing. They try what they can. Even committee set up for zoning. All up to this moment, they are confused. Tomorrow, PDP say is to South. Tomorrow, they say it's the North Council. Now they're not direction. I see, ending up, let them go to the field. I try to end it. That's the only solution. That's the only solution. Because they are not, none of them is ready to give way for one ethnic group or the other. They are not prepared at all. That's why they are up to today. They are still confused over the matter. All right. So it's just it's a moral ground. Because I'm speaking morally, because you told
not constitutional.
Not constitutional. Morally and historically, you got to be.
Many people have benefited from this moral perspective.
It's just. Yes,
mutual understanding.
Yes. So morally speaking and historically speaking, I think you ought to be zoned to the southeast.
Okay. There are many things that the Constitution talks about that makes you to understand that there's zoning, even though the word zoning was not used in the Constitution
expressly.
Yes, the Constitution talks about federal character. The Constitution talks about the president, when you are making up your cabinet, people from different parts of the country. Why does the Constitution talk about that? The Constitution talks about that because it doesn't want any particular part of the country to dominate others. That is why when you have a presidential candidate from the north, for instance, the president candidate cannot have the guts to bring a running mate from the north. What do you call that? It's because of the fact that you want to balance the equation. So if you have a presidential candidate, even in the state here, for instance, if you have a governor from Edo Central, you cannot have from Edo South, you cannot have the Speaker of the House of Assembly, who is the number 3 citizen in the state, to be from the same constituency. So those are the areas. You know, for instance, in the court of law is made up of 2 parts. There's equity, there's the law. Now, the equity regards are done that which ought to be done. So in this case, equity regards zoning as part of the constitution, even though it is not expressly stated. That is why everybody is agitated that, okay, you have had all this. If you look at even the conglomeration of the offices and officers that you have in the country today, even the federal character has been bastardized. All the federal agencies, more than 99% of the federal agencies, they are occupied by people from a particular part of the country. So it's because we have somebody at the helm of affairs who is doing all those appointments. So by the time you have somebody from the south, you know, there is going to be a change, probably a change for the better. So that is why the issue of zoning makes a lot of sense. But if it doesn't succeed, then...
Do you see it succeeding?
Well, the parties that have tried it, for instance, PDP came out and, you know, emphatically to say that the president should come from the south and set up a zoning committee. The zoning committee could not arrive at, you know,
a compromise.
You know, they could not come out with a decision. Yes. So now everybody's going to the field. But if you look at the body language of the people in PDP and Nigerians, apart from a few people who are disgruntled, you see that they want the presidency to come to the south. And of course, the top flight presidential aspirants are from the south in the party. You know, that is the same reason why even in APC, the top flight candidates, I mean the aspirants from that party, they are from the south. So in a way, it's very healthy for the country, because you cannot subject yourself and allow yourself to be governed by one particular set of people where even all the decisions that they are making has not moved the country forward. So everybody is agitating. Well, if we get somebody from a different part of the country, it's going to be better. So that is all that we are talking about, for a change that will be better for Nigeria.
Once again, I want to say a big thanks to you for staying with us on Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. In a moment, our studio number will be open so you can call and be able to contribute to our discussion today on the program. But we just want to give you this background to the discussion, particularly as it relates to INEC and the dates for the primaries by political parties. INEC on Thursday said that it has no intention to shift ground. This is against the background of speculations that there are pressures from the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, Nigeria's electoral umpire. INEC says it will not extend the deadline for political parties' primary election. In its timetable and schedule of activities released in February for the 2023 general election, the Commission had slated April 4 to June 3 for the election of flag bearers of all political parties for the 2023 elections. With about 28 days to the deadline, the nation's leading political parties, APC, and the major opposition party, the PDP, appeared not ready for their primaries. While APC is still selling the nomination forms to aspirants, the PDP is screening eligible aspirants. However, the two major parties are reportedly lobbying INEC to shift the date. Well, there's no evidence to that, but it's there in the public space. In an unusual rush, not less than 23 and 17 persons have respectively shown interest in the presidential tickets of the ruling APC and the PDP. Thursday, a total of 15 aspirants have made payment of 100 million naira. That's about 150 million naira each for the presidential contest in APC, while more than half of the number have obtained the same forms of at 40 million naira in the PDP. While the growing number of aspirants and agitations on zoning of the top seat, leaders of both parties are under immense pressure to handle the matter with care or risk full-blown crisis. However, INEC, in a statement issued by its spokesperson Festus Okoye on Thursday, warned political parties against daring its resolution on the fixed deadline for the nomination. He went on to say nomination for presidential and National Assembly elections shall be submitted through the INEC web portal from 10th to 17th June 2022, while governorship and state houses of assembly nominations shall be submitted between 1st and 15th July 2022, Mr. Okoye added. The commission also confirmed the full compliance of the 18 political parties in the country to Section 82, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022. The section mandates all political parties to notify the commission on dates for their conventions, congresses, and primaries for the purpose of nominating candidates for the various elective offices. While both PDP and APC have not clearly disclosed where they intend to zone the presidential seat to, the dates for the primaries tentatively remain May 28 and 29 for the former and 31 for the latter. This is where we are as we build up to the primaries. But it looks like just now the major challenge for the political parties, or some political parties, like we've seen in the case of the PDP, is the issue of delegates. That has been on like forever, and it looks like it's not in sight just yet. Let me get your views, Mr. Patrick.
I think what they ought to do, like what they could do, is to settle this matter amicably. Or else they will have problem with the election. This is not the time to hit the politics within the political party. They should settle all issues so that they have a soft landing. I believe that united we stand and divided we fall. If they don't do that, what happened in Rivers State will happen here.
Are you a prophet of doom?
No, because that's how they are played. We should learn from experience from what happened. That's what I'm speaking from my experience.
Okay.
That's what happened. So, like, issue of now, like the issue later, I would attend to one issue. Also buying form, also producing form. I don't see any of them making as flag bearer. I will tell you, it has happened before. That was going to happen again.
No, it's one person. After all, it's one person.
Not just one person. None of them said. You should be shocked. That it happened before, and yet to happen again.
Why are you so sorry about this?
It happened before, and that's how they acted.
Okay.
You imagine during the passenger time, when they all the powerful generals bought form.
Yeah.
Mwachukwu, Mawa, them there.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
All the presidents, all of them bought form. But at the end of the day, they never had it. Somebody who they never thought of, somebody quite the Yaradua, for nowhere just emerge.
Okay.
Right, so bought form.
Yeah. It's not about one now. No, they bought my class.
So
no, it can't buy form. Can you imagine? He came and later say, and later they bought him and buy form. Later one, but not even among the candidates.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. All right. Let's look at another thing very interesting. Has to do with those who are in elective position or in appointive position resigning. We have seen instances where maybe like a full executive council, particularly maybe commissioners, SA and stuff, resign. But we have ministers, federal ministers, yet to resign. What do you make of this in line with this deadline given by INEC?
Well, you see, this is a country that is based on the rule of law. That is how it's supposed to be. Section 84 of the INEC Act requires that all those who are in appointed positions must resign. Otherwise, they cannot be delegates. Otherwise, they cannot contest. So if you flout that law, the law will catch up with you. If you flout that law, whatever you do, no matter how well you do it, becomes a nullity. So that is my simple response to that. There's no way the powers that be, the people who are at the helm of affairs right now, can twist the law. The law is, is there. So if you don't meet the requirement, then it's at your own peril. No matter how and what they do. I can see many of them, they are not even thinking of resigning. I think they just want to jeopardize the system that exists in their political party. That's the way it is.
Mr. Patrick, resignation before seeking for elective position.
Here, Section 84.
Yes.
12 is clear. It's circumstance. As for now, that those seeking for electoral office more than 3 months, you must resign. If like to contest or to vote, that is the position we did not comply with. You are aware that the president even wrote back, said to challenge, they should expunge that is not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say that, based on that, any of the political parties that feel a candidate that I might say right now, by based on the Electoral Act, by virtue of Section 84(12), that person already has legal disability. It has its own peril. That is own peril. If at the end of the day the law remains so, you might take the presidential election to give to the other person, but based on that, you did not resign. But to tell you that they don't, even those people buying from what I told you, it's like it's more like the political jamboree, it's like elite club. I will buy to belong to the club, but I'm not sure of my candidacy. No, that's true. That's not what they are doing. They don't want them to resign. None of them to resign. To show you that they're not throwing away the money, they're not resigning. They're there because they know that they will not go anywhere. no, it's not the truth of the matter. No, they've not resigned. All of them, even the CBN governor.
No, farmers bought from
no, but which name?
I mean, rice farmers.
Is it by rice farmers?
Rice farmers.
Which name is that from?
Rice farmers bought.
No, sir. Let me tell you, sir. You see, we are not dead. We are used to all those songs here. Even here, from here, a governor that was here for 8 years before here, we know what happened here. They say market 2 million bought from for them. So we say rice. It's not say rice seller. So we say cattle dealers. So we tell you say tomato seller. Even our current president, they not also bought one for him. So that is how they use the language. It's not new to our political palace.
Apart from
no, I'm coming, sir. Okay. It's not to our political palace. The issue of saying rice here. Because the issue is that what was the source of the money? How did you get the money? That is what they are running with. To divert the attention of the kind of security diversion, to divert the attention of the EFCC. That's what they are doing. There's no such light on them. Oh, rice people bought for me. They bought, I had not buy. That is what they try to do to circumvent the law. You know, Nigerians are very good to circumvent the law. They are very good at it. That's the truth of the matter.
Okay. All right. Pastor Jimmy, you want to say something quickly?
Apart from those who are saying rice farmers bought from for them, the rest of them, it is unethical for a sitting governor of Central Bank, whose allegiance is supposed to be to the citizens of this country, to show his political inclination openly. It is unethical. It cannot happen in other climes. It cannot happen in a place like America or Canada or UK. You are the governor of Central Bank. You are appointed by the president, and you are taking for while you are still sitting there. That means you have been a politician all through, because you are supposed to be apolitical. By the way, those who are buying for, you see, there's provision in the electoral. There's a limit to expenditure, and you are supposed to have a record of people who are donating money to you. Let those who say road makers or rice farmers are buying for them, let them bring the list of the rice farmers and how much each of them donated. You see, the pegging of 100 million for the purchase of farm shows that Nigeria, is in a terrible situation. It shows that they don't want people who have brains. They don't want people who have ideologies who may not have the money to come up. You know what 100 million naira is? It's not 100 naira. So they should be questioned. Even the political party that fixed that amount, should be caught. They have issues to answer. They have questions to answer. That is a subtle way of weeding out the young folks. That is a subtle way of weeding out those who are credible in their profession. I mean, those who are not obviously corrupt, because almost everybody is in that quagmire. Those who are not obviously corrupt, who don't have 100 million. You see what PDP did? 40 million makes sense. 100 million for what? Just to take form.
40 million makes sense.
Yeah, what you can see
comparatively.
Yeah,
but we can still make comparison to 2015 or thereabouts.
No.
Because we have seen that this nomination fee has been increasing.
The economy is bad. Inflation,
so everything is increasing. Everything is increasing.
But yes. it is 100 million is astronomical. You know how many miles you are going to trek from 40 before you reach 100?
Okay,
it's a lot.
But Mr. Patrick,
to be honest with you, to be sincere as a Nigerian, the two amounts are outrageous. 100 million, 40 million for just.
But one is more outrageous.
Excuse me, I'm coming.
Mr. Jimmy, just calm down.
For coming for just a paper form. Each form. And we say we are fighting corrupt. We want good governance. If I can purchase a form with 100 million, I'm not talking just form. Not talking about the main issues. I've not even addressed that. They expect not to be corrupt in office to give back my money. So the INEC federal government should do something. It's appalling. It's disheartening. A businessman, I want to make sure during the mother burial, say kill how many cow. I don't think he spent up to those money was he spent just for they say USC invited him. How did you those money you are shower around you 400 million? No, but I don't blame them because the money is not for them. Their positions is government money, it's our money.
Okay, let's open our studio line, and you can call and be part of the discussion. Tell us your name, where you're calling from. Make sure you are brief in terms of your contribution so we can give the space to others who are on the line. I've got your message from our WhatsApp platform. Florence Masujua, PhD, APC and PDP must zone their presidential seat to the south. When that is done, the south too must microzone it to the southeast. This is the only way the circle of equity will be seen to be complete. Anything outside this will spell doom. Thank you for your contribution. We'll open our studio line, and you can call that number and be part of the discussion on Politics Today this beautiful Saturday morning. Let's quickly talk about microzoning the presidential seat to the southeast. One person told me, look, if the southeast want it, they must work for it, they must fight for it, they must negotiate for it. And one of the major starting points for them is to reduce the number of aspirants. But Jimmy, do you subscribe to this?
Well, if it's agreed that the candidate, the president should come from, presidential candidate should come from the south, and there is no agreement on consensus, so to say, nobody have agreed. Provided all the aspirants, for instance, if it's possible, they are from the south, it's still a certain that will still come from. All we need is a president from the south, not about microzoning, whether it's from southeast or southwest, or we want the president to come from the south. A short while ago, my colleague talked about, I don't want to mention the name of that guy, after the celebration of the party was arrested. Yeah. He was arrested because he's not in the clique. Now, you are saying that EFCC cannot go and arrest presidential candidates in that party that is buying for 100 million, because those are the people that put him there. You understand? So that's the issue that we are having.
All right, let's take some calls. Let's take some calls. Hello, Sonny Gadosa. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the program. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you very much. I greet your distinguished guest. I agree with their submission. The only thing I would like to do is to beg all the political parties. You must remember, there is this adage we have in the village. If you don't know what to do to, when father don't know what to do to a old woman, he will throw away a melon so that she will give her work to do. And if they don't look inward, this issue of some people, they were supposed to have resigned and they didn't resign. And such person now have opportunity to become, whether a lawmaker at the state or the federal level, like your guest has said, it should become paralysis to the party. So I will encourage them. What they need to do is to ensure that they follow due process, do what is right, allow transparency, so that the man that does not win or that is disallowed will not have anything to go to court or too much litigation. So what they need to do is to put us in order. Let the best candidate emerge. I do not also believe in zoning. But if you must zone, bring out the best from your zoning. Don't zone a man because he has too much money to give. Do not put a man because the man has been loyal to you. Will the man be loyal to Nigeria? Will he be loyal to the challenges, the shenanigans that are going on in the country? If he is able to do that and show allegiance, and say that I have this template, on this template I stand, and at the end of the day he can deliver on that, Nigeria will be satisfied. Because like Olumide have always said, Nigeria do not care how much you know, or they can see your impact in their life. So we need the Nigeria now who will be able to stand the hem of our fair and look at the kind that Nigeria is going to, the era of power, insecurity, and joblessness. That's what we need, who can fix the country. If we can find out, Nigeria will be satisfied with that man. Thank you. Good morning, Pastor Tony.
Thank you very much, Sonny Gadosa. 070-8365-488. You can dial that number. You'll be able to reach us on Politics Today on independent television and radio live. 070-8365-4889. 070-8365-4889. That's our studio number through which you can contribute to the program right now, right away. 0808 365-4889. Good morning, caller. You're live on the program. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling from. Please turn down the audio level on your TV or radio or move backward because we can barely hear you. There's an echo.
Okay, sir.
Move backward from where you are right now.
Hello, sir.
Could you please move backward or you turn down the audio level on your TV or radio set to remove the
Hello,
echo?
sir. I'm hearing you, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Evangelist Olayemi, calling from Benin.
Okay, Evangelist Olayemi, please go ahead.
According to the issue of ground,
Yes.
what I see in this very issue, according to the INEC, at least there should be a constitutional guide for them in picking the form. Not the one that said this one is 100 million just to pick a form. At least there should be a minimum amount, and it should be under constitution, under law, that if you want to obtain presidential ticket, it should be so amount, and it should be on that guideline. And secondly, what I see in picking their presidential candidate, they should not go for because the man has money. What the person can offer for the nation, because I don't just understand this country is either we are going backward. We remember the early 80s. Remember the early 80s when we go to the market with 500. You can possess a lot of it, but now you cannot afford anything, everything we had. And secondly, hello, sir.
Yes. Go ahead. We're listening to you. We're listening to you.
The major key point of this nation is power. The major key point.
Okay, I think the point has been well established. We'll allow others to take their turn. Thank you very much, Evangelist Olayemi, calling us from Benin. Thank you. 07083654889. You can dial that number now and be part of the program. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Please tell us your name and where you're calling from. Good morning.
I'm calling from Uwelukota.
Okay, please turn down the audio level on your TV or radio to remove the echo. Turn it down. Okay, please go ahead.
I want to talk in respect of what you're discussing here.
Thank you.
And you'll be talking about only the south. And you must also remember that the south, from the south and the southwest have also ruled this country before. During the time of Obasanjo and Jonathan. You must also be aware that the northeast and the north central have never ruled also, just like the southeast. So if you want to talk about fairness and equity as we're discussing there, we're supposed to talk about the northeast, the north central and the southeast.
Okay.
So among these three areas, I think one should be qualified. We had the best candidate who are from this area.
Okay.
So we should only focus on those three regions.
Okay.
But this is 1999. This region has never ruled. And when we talk of fairness and oneness, we should also talk about other areas. That's why we are from South. Just okay. Make mention of those areas because they've not ruled. The north central and the northeast have not so ruled. So we should consider the three areas. So among those three areas, the best candidates should be met, and Nigeria should support them. Not going to the northwest and the southwest again.
Right.
Look at the vice president is on the southwest. Obasanjo from the southwest. They are not the only people who live in Nigeria. The northwest are Police and Buhari. So we should go to other areas.
Okay.
So that's my advice.
All right. Thank you.
The issue of this APC candidate, sorry to mention. See, most of the people, they have been talking about one thing, that the legacy of Buhari, they should continue with. None of them have identified that this government has been in area of security. Look at ASU strike, look at the economy. They've not even thought, it seems maybe their officers will thought is happening in Nigeria. And they are telling us that they want to continue on that area. So Nigeria should reason why they know who they will vote for.
All right.
Because none of them have accepted to Nigeria that they are paying area of economy, area of security, area of education. They've not mentioned all the APC presidential candidates. We are showing us that where Buhari stop, they will continue from there. That's to say they are satisfied with what's happening in Nigeria. And the Nigerians are not happy.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. 07083654889. Good morning, caller. Tell us your name. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Good morning. 070-8365-4889. Good morning, caller. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning, sir.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
I'm Mr. Mike Osaze.
Yeah, Mr. Mike, you need to speak up a little bit so we can hear you better.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I want to, first of all, congratulate all the crew members there. They have spoken our mind.
Thank you.
You see, one thing I want to say is that our leader is leading us like a masquerade. Because what I said is, a masquerade is supposed to dance at home before they go to another place. I see these people that they not dance, they not tested at home before they all dive into politics. Now let me come to the nucleus of my discussion. 100,000 to pick a form, like what the last speaker said, INEC supposed to fix an amount for a party to pick a form. They are doing this to eject out our youth who's supposed to be there. How many of our youth have 100 million to pick a form? Even though if a party come out, okay, to pick a form is 200,000. These people are there, they have the money to also pay because they have stolen a lot. They are stolen a lot. Because we don't want these people to cajole us anymore. By paying 100,000 to pick a form, it's not too good to the nation.
When you say they have stolen enough, there is no evidence to back up that statement. So please, would you to take that statement down? No evidence. That's you're just casting aspersion on them.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Let us not beat around the bush. He that used an antelope to set the trap. It's an amendment that is bigger than is expected.
All right. Thank you. Okay, just a few more calls and we'll call it a wrap on the program. Politics Today, this beautiful Saturday morning. Next caller on the line may just be our last caller for today. 070-8365-4889. Good morning, caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, I'm Paul Omoike. I'm calling from Banjul Road, Benin City.
Yeah, Paul, could you just speak up a little bit so we can hear you more?
All right, I'm calling from Banjul Road.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, my contribution this morning, I think, is our time the youth of this nation wake up to the reality of the day. I think in 2023, the youth of this nation to take the bull by the horn and come out to mass to vote for the young persons. Because these elders, they've stolen enough and they've taken our mandate for granted. So I think this is the right time for all of us to speak up as the youth to come out and change this nation for the better.
All right. Thank you, Omoike. We appreciate. Okay, now just before we say goodbyes, let me come back to Barrister Jimmy Osagede and Barrister Patrick Shekwene. But let me just take this call. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? What's your name?
Thank you very much for taking the call.
Okay, go ahead.
Dr. Opposite.
Yeah, Dr. Opposite, I can't understand why your voice is a bit low. If we could just scale it up a little bit so we can hear you loud and clear. Good morning.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Opposite, the radio professor.
Go ahead.
Yes. So what I want to say is that I want to go with the last caller that the youth of this country, the young people of this country, should watch out for the next set of leaders that are coming. Vote them out, don't support them. Look for a young person. How can you say 100 million to obtain funds? That is to see it's a dream that can never be achieved by any legitimate youth. So you cannot see the reason why our economy has been crumbling because our CBN governor who is supposed to regulate our currency is a politician. Yes, they have been playing politics. That's why our economy is the worst economy that we have had in Nigeria since 1950. Everybody will testify to that. But when you check your cupboard at home, you check your fridge at home, you will know that this is the worst. So the CBN governor has been a politician. That is why our Naira has now become worthless because it don't allow to the politicians as we.
All right, Dr. Opposite, those are spurious allegations, spurious statements that really doesn't have the backing, no evidence to back it up. So we'll just pause it there, Dr. Opposite. Thank you for your contributions on the show. Okay, so someone called in and talked about the need for INEC to, to have that constitutional provision on the cap for nomination form. Is this doable? Is this realistic?
Well, right now, INEC does not have the power to do that. INEC, if INEC was to be given that power, they will enforce it. In the Electoral Act, it's not there. But what my advice is that, in spite of all this, the delegates, right from the House of Assembly, House of Reps, to the Senate, let them study the candidates, look at their antecedents, vote only for candidates who have the mental capacity, who have the intellectual prowess, who have track record, those who knows what we are going to do there. There are some people, they want to go to House of Assembly or House of Representatives. They don't even know the duty. They don't even know. They just want to be answering honorable. So, the field is filled up with people from different background, people who have different purposes than the rest of them. They should be interrogated to know those who will be able to deliver, to know what exactly is good for the constituency that they want to go and represent. That is my advice to everybody who will be voting.
All right. You sharing this sentiment, Mr. Patrick?
Yes. I think, yes, also I agree to an extent. For futuristic, I think you do something. Or any of the members that can sponsor a bill so they can regulate what is paid. You can say, oh, if you want to increase, it might not be more than 2 or 3%. It's a government fund, it's a government thing. 2% is okay. Not the way by the next one will be 200 million, the other year 300 million. No, it's okay. They should do so. They should do so. They should do so. They also think, I think, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I also think that, the type of candidates we intend voting for, who want to vote, whether primary or the real election, we have to be cautious. There are certain things you need to be cautious of. Like a building that is everything is down, and if you have just little wind, the building will collapse. You don't need a strong engineer to advise you on that. It is blinding. So you interrogate all these aspirants to know they are competent enough to represent you. It should be a guiding principle.
All right. Thank you very much. In the past, we tried to set up platforms like platforms where aspirants meet to interface with the people. But unfortunately, many aspirants are very reluctant to come for such platforms, even debates to come. I mean, in civilized climate, media houses will set up debates to engage aspirants even before the candidates emerge. But back here, you find sometimes even the political parties are the ones who will discourage their aspirants to participate in such programs, whereas such programs are supposed to help the aspirants engage with the people so that the people will know them, the people can assess them.
Exactly.
All right, so it's quite unfortunate, but we'll keep doing our best and see how we can help the system to grow. Uya, I got your message. We'll stop the phone call, so please stop calling. My question goes like this: those form the collect for such an amount. There is this saying, a hunter who uses elephant to trap for a trap. What do you think such a hunter would be expecting? I'm sure it was one of the pastors that calling also made allusion to that statement. Anyways, that's Nigeria for you. But we're hoping that 2023 will provide the right platform for us to change the narratives. That can only happen if you see yourself as a stakeholder by taking ownership of the system. How you can do that is to participate. If you belong to a political party, ensure you do not vote for a particular person as a delegate because the person has money, but because the person has something to offer. If you are an electorate, the election will come very soon, February or thereabout. Vote for a candidate, not because he has money or he gave you money, but because your conscience tells you that this one has something to offer. I want to say big thanks to our panelists, Mr. Jimmy, Mr. Shekwene, and to all our crew members. Thank you so much, and to all our viewers and listeners across the world. We appreciate you. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye for now.